Hello guys, you are seeing Prime News Australia, where we show you the latest and important news of Australia in the fastest and reliable way. So come, let's start by not delaying 25 big updates of the Australia, especially for you. Before proceeding in the video, comment by commenting from which state you are watching, and also like video so that YouTube can reach this video to more people of Australia.
Australians faced long queues at fuel stations nationwide as petrol prices continued to spike, following disruptions in oil supplies caused by the escalating US-Israel-Iran conflict. The government issued urgent appeals for calm to avoid widespread panic buying at Bowser's. Energy Minister Chris Bowen confirmed that current diesel reserves stand at around 34 days. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese implemented a temporary halving of the fuel excise tax starting April 1st, providing some immediate relief to motorists, although economists cautioned about potential broader inflationary impacts across the economy. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced a significant 50% reduction in petrol and diesel excise tax until June 30th in response to soaring fuel prices triggered by blockages in the Strait of Hormuz. This measure aims to alleviate mounting financial pressures on households, small businesses, and the transport sector. While fuel prices showed slight easing in cities like Adelaide and Brisbane, opposition critics labeled the cut as insufficient for long-term stability. During parliamentary sessions, it was revealed that Australia currently maintains only 34 days of diesel, 32 days of jet fuel, and 36 days of petrol in strategic reserves. Ongoing tensions in the Middle East have led to cancelled oil shipments, heightening fears of potential shortages during peak demand periods. The opposition sharply criticized the government's level of preparedness for such global shocks. More than half of Australian families have cancelled or significantly modified their Easter holiday road trips due to persistently high petrol costs and ongoing supply uncertainty. Recent surveys indicated that many are opting for local staycations or public transport alternatives to manage expenses. Good Friday, on April 3rd, resulted in noticeably quieter highways compared to previous years. Foreign Minister Penny Wong participated in high-level international meetings involving representatives from more than 40 countries aimed at resolving the closure of the critical Strait of Hormuz waterway. Australia deliberately avoided endorsing any military offensives, instead prioritizing diplomatic negotiations and peaceful resolutions. One Nation Party achieved an additional seat in the South Australian Parliament following a detailed recount in the Noongar electorate. This development highlights shifting voter priorities amid widespread cost of living pressures and concerns over national fuel security. Party officials celebrated the result as a strong endorsement for regional voices advocating on issues like immigration control and economic resilience. The United States under President Trump has imposed 100% tariffs on a range of Australian pharmaceutical products entering the American market, although CSL Limited may secure exemptions for certain plasma therapies. Australian trade officials voiced serious concerns about the potential negative effects on the country's growing biotech export sector. The federal government has introduced partial restrictions on gambling advertisements across various media platforms following sustained criticism regarding Australia's exceptionally high per capita gambling losses. The Greens Party dismissed the reforms as inadequate and half-hearted. These changes seek to minimize gambling-related harm to vulnerable individuals and families while stopping short of implementing comprehensive nationwide bans. Victoria Police have ramped up a major operation targeting stolen vehicles as part of efforts to combat rising property crime rates in the state. Additional patrols were deployed over the Easter period to safeguard roads, fuel stations, and shopping areas. Authorities have connected several incidents to both opportunistic joyriding and more organized criminal networks. Escalating transport and logistics expenses resulting from the national fuel shortage have begun driving up prices for groceries and everyday essentials in supermarkets across Australia. Shoppers have noticed noticeable increases in the cost of fresh produce, dairy, and other staples just before the Easter weekend. Farmers groups and retailers have jointly called on authorities to provide urgent assistance to stabilize strained supply chains. Prime Minister Albanese has actively encouraged all Australians to utilize trains, buses, and other forms of public transport to help conserve limited fuel supplies during the crisis. Major cities, including Sydney and Melbourne, have boosted service frequencies and capacities to accommodate extra holiday travelers. Commuters reported experiencing more crowded journeys than usual, but largely supported the initiative for its environmental benefits and role in reducing pressure on national fuel reserves at this critical time. The Western Australian government has invoked special emergency powers to regulate fuel distribution more effectively and curb excessive hoarding behaviours in the state. Lengthy queues have formed at service stations throughout Perth suburbs and regional centres. Local authorities are working closely with federal counterparts to ensure priority allocation for essential services, such as ambulances, police vehicles, freight operators, and critical regional supply deliveries. Recent environmental assessments have detailed the devastating effects of Cyclone Narelle on Western Australia's marine ecosystems, including large numbers of dead turtles, dolphins, and seabirds washing up along affected coastlines. Community recovery initiatives continue in impacted areas, while authorities coordinate cleanup and rehabilitation programs. New South Wales police have charged 2 teenagers with offences related to the possession and distribution of violent extremist material. The charges followed coordinated raids that uncovered handwritten notes and other literature linked to radical ideologies. Joint investigations involving state and federal agencies continue to focus on preventing youth radicalization, particularly through online channels and unregulated digital platforms. Australian professional golfer Minwoo Lee delivered a competitive performance at the prestigious Masters tournament held at Augusta National, maintaining realistic chances of securing his first major championship title. Domestic sports enthusiasts have closely tracked his progress throughout the event. Significant April 1st, premium increases for private health insurance have added further financial strain for numerous Australian households already grappling with elevated fuel and energy expenses. The simultaneous expiry of certain energy rebates and ongoing mortgage rate adjustments have compounded budgetary pressures for many families. A promotional event offering $100,000 worth of free fuel at a busy Melbourne service station resulted in chaotic scenes with extremely long queues and large crowds gathering. The giveaway highlighted the depth of public concern and frustration over persistently high petrol prices. Event organizers worked to maintain order and safety as hundreds of motorists arrived hoping to gain some temporary relief from the widespread national fuel shortage situation. Opposition politicians have demanded increased transparency from the government regarding the full pass-through of fuel tax reductions to consumers at the pump. They have criticized the overall handling of reserve management and import arrangements during the crisis. Christians throughout Australia observed Good Friday on April 3rd with traditional church services, prayers, and moments of quiet personal reflection. Numerous retail businesses and services closed for the public holiday, as is customary. Many families adapted their usual Easter celebrations and travel arrangements in response to elevated fuel costs, choosing instead to focus on local community gatherings and more modest, cost-effective holiday observances at home. The federal government has released a $1 billion package of interest-free loans targeted at industries most severely affected by the ongoing fuel cost crisis, particularly transport operators and agricultural producers. Prime Minister Albanese emphasized the importance of safeguarding employment and maintaining vital supply chains during this difficult period. Australian diplomatic and consular staff have been working diligently to assist citizens currently located in the Middle East amid continuing regional instability and military actions. Limited commercial flights have resumed from affected areas, including some direct or connecting services back to Australian cities. The Liberal Party leader in South Australia has offered reflections on the party's recent electoral performance and acknowledged areas requiring improvement following disappointing results. The rise of One Nation has notably altered the state's political dynamics. Internal discussions are now focusing on potential policy recalibrations to better address voter concerns around cost of living issues, fuel security, and broader economic management in the lead-up to future elections. Prominent energy experts and cross-party politicians have issued renewed calls for Australia to substantially expand its strategic fuel reserves as a matter of national security priority. The currently low stockpile levels have exposed significant vulnerabilities to international supply shocks and geopolitical events. Communities across Australia have demonstrated remarkable resilience and solidarity by organizing local initiatives, such as neighborhood carpooling networks and informal fuel-sharing arrangements to help one another cope. Charitable organizations have stepped up assistance programs for vulnerable households struggling with increased living expenses.